All right, hey guys, I am so excited. We are going to keep working with Hunyuan, which is very cool video generator. This is honestly the straight up big boy version of this is directly in competition with OpenAI's Sora, and we have versions now that have been given to us that we can use down with 16, 24 gigabytes of VRAM, and it's still incredibly impressive. Now, we did a video on this earlier with the Windows. Okay, what we're going to end up doing though is we're actually going to go ahead and run this through the Windows subsystem for Linux, and the reason we're going to do that is this little boy over here, this little bad boy right here that says Sage Attention. And what we're going to be able to do by running this actually in our Windows subsystem for Linux is that we're going to be easily able to install some extra dependencies on here that are going to double your inference ability. So for instance, with the Windows Hunyuan that we just did here a couple days ago, the most I was able to get at with dimensions was 512 by 320. Okay, couldn't really go above that, and with that I could get up to 161 frames. But if I even put 512, I was going to run out of memory. Okay, by running this through my Windows subsystem for Linux, okay, and using what's called Sage Attention, and I'll explain that a little bit later, I'm actually able to push this up to a 960 by like 712 or something like that. Dimensions were huge. Okay, I got to keep my frame rates down to about 85, maybe 90 on that, but that's massive. And when I was able to bring it back down to my 512 by 320, well, hell, I could throw up my frames all the way up to my frames per second, all the way up to or frames all the way up to 200. So Sage Attention is fantastic. Now, here's been the issue. You can get this working on Windows, but you have to jump through hoops. It's like you're a little dog wearing like a little ballerina thing, and they've got a flaming hoop, and you've got to jump through that thing, and then after you jump through that, they've got another hoop and then you got to run up some stairs, all while you're this little dog wearing this little ballerina suit, and you get it done, but at the end of it, it's a lot of work. Okay, and here's the other thing. You have to end up making so many changes to your Windows environment that it screws up your other stuff. Okay, and this is the main thing I want you to understand. All right, we run a lot of different softwares. Okay, we're running our face swapping softwares. We're running our F5. Our audio generations. We're running our image generations. And all of these things depend on when we install them. It takes what we the system as it is. Now, you come into something like this, you're like, hey, I want to get this Hunyuan working, and okay, all I got to do is just put on this little ballerina thing and hop around like this, go through this flame. Okay, well, I'm willing to do it. But here's the thing. You're changing your system so much that now your other stuff ain't going to work. Okay, it's not worth it. Okay, but here's the beautiful thing. We have the Windows subsystem for Linux where this stuff works easy. It's literally, to get your Sage Attention over there, it's pip install Sage Attention, and you're done. I mean, it's literally that easy. Okay, because the stuff is written for Linux. Okay, so throw the little dog in the in the ballet skirt away. We're going to get into this. We're going to scratch the surface on how to set up your Windows subsystem for Linux. I'm telling you, it's important that you get this going, okay? The most work you're going to do is getting your Windows subsystem for Linux set up, okay? But it's not just a small thing. It's not difficult so much. There's just some steps. We get it going. I've got a video on this that you can look at that'll walk you through that. I'm going to walk you through some basic stuff here with it. But we're going, for the most part, okay, we're going to assume that you have your Windows subsystem set up. If you don't want to go do that by hand, and it's a little bit of an ordeal, you got to get going, and then you got to get Cuda installed, and then you got to get the Cuda Deep Neural Network installed. You've got to set some variables in there. There's just a lot of little niggly things that you got to do. Okay, and I've got, again, I got a video that you can go get all the details. I'll touch on it briefly here. But if you do just want to get going, guys, honestly, the best thing to do is just go to my Patreon site and just get this WSL complete package, okay? If you're a farmhand member, you get it for free. And then literally all you get, literally all you have to do at that point is just click on stuff. So it's like this. You just click on WS install. It's going to do everything for you, okay? And again, it's not that it's terrible, but there's a lot of little stuff. It took me a while to figure this out and get this down into a script, but that's all you're gonna have to do. And then you're gonna click this. It's going to install your Cuda. It's going to install your Cuda deep neural network. It's going to install your Miniconda, your Git, your FF impeg, okay? And it's going to give you a little thing here to add to your registry, so then you can just right click and go directly into thing. By the way, using it this way also makes it so that, I'll explain a little bit more, but opens up your Windows subsystem for Linux in the active Windows screen that you are. Because normally it opens up and you're in like WSL land, okay? And it's confusing. You got to get it. So I'll walk you through some of that, okay? But just so you know, the fastest, easiest way is just go get the script installer, okay? And just run it. Let it do its thing, and then that way if you got to remove it and redo it, it's just literally just clicking buttons, okay? But we're going to move on. We're going to get you working with Hunyuan there in the WSL. We're going to get you working with high frames. And you know what? I'm not making promises, but listen, if your machine hasn't been working on other video stuff, by getting this Sage attention and the Triton stuff over here working, you've got a chance, okay? You've got a good chance. And so I'm happy for you. I'm excited for you. Okay, so that was a lot. That was kind of a lot there. So we're going to move on with that. But before we do that, please do like the channel, subscribe to the channel, share it with people. You know, go to the school, at your parents and teachers conference. They're telling you about your kids, and just be like, that's really interesting. But have you heard about AI? And just see how they respond to that. I'm sure that will really impress them. So anyway, that's there we go. We're gonna move on. Okay, let's get some serious video generation going. Yo. Okay, so first thing we got to do is we got to make sure that your WSL is installed. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you what I'm doing, because my system's already set up, and I'm not going to necessarily reinstall everything, but I'm going to show you how I do it, my kind of easy way, and then we're going to go through the other way, so you can kind of see both. All right. So I did want to point out that it is important to get this going, because I'm going to start releasing more stuff and doing more tutorials that work with the WSL, because now that we've figured out how to get stuff going faster, when these things, like, we missed out on pretty much the whole cog build thing, because you know, cog, yeah, I think cog build or whatever, cog video, there we go. We missed out on a lot of that because we just couldn't get it working in Windows really easy. But more stuff like that's gonna be coming out, and I'm gonna start pumping stuff just because, honestly, once you get your WSL set up, it's so easy to run some of this stuff, and there's really no reason to not for the speed bump you get, and you don't mess up your Windows system. So anyway, let's go ahead over here. I'm going to go to my file explorer, and I'm going to show you how I get into my Windows subsystem for Linux. So now over here, all I do is I just click on this WSL install, and what this is going to do is it's actually going to open up the package. So now when you first get your Windows subsystem for Linux is not necessarily pre-installed, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do that, but you actually have to install it, and you have to download what do you call it? You have to download an image, okay? An image means like you got to download the operating system, okay, that it's going to use. And so I just use this, and then what I do is I click over here on this little WSL open button, and it basically just does this. Let's see if I can get that for you. And it just opens up this. It looks like a terminal window, but you'll actually see that I'm in See here where it says Mount D Staging Comfy. So I'm actually in the WSL, but I'm in the folder that I clicked on, which is really nice. Okay, so this is how I'm going to do all of the stuff that we're working on, but let's walk you through really quick how to make sure that WSL is installed on your machine. Okay, so I'm closing up some windows here. So I got 18 million windows open at the moment. 18 million plus one. Okay, now I'm going to click on over here to the desktop. Now let's go ahead and get rid of that bad boy. So when you first start up your Windows thing, what you're going to do is click on your start window, and then we're going to type turn. Just start typing the word turn, and it's going to say turn Windows features on or off. We want to click this. Okay, this is if you're not using the quick installer. Okay, if you use the quick installer, you don't have to do this. But if you aren't, this is what we're doing. This is the manual that we're doing now. Scroll down here and you're going to see it says Windows Subsystem for Linux. You're going to check that. Now, mine's not checked because I installed it a different way. Okay, but you're going to click this. Then you're going to click OK. And what it's going to do is it's going to take, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes to install. And then it's going to ask you to reboot. All right? It's got to reboot your system. So when it does reboot, you're going to come over to here, and then you're going to type WSL, and it's going to bring up this little penguin fella. Or the picture might, sometimes the picture is a little bit different, but you're just going to click on that. And what it's going to do, it's going to, oh, look at, mine's setting it up. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, so notice now what it's done is it's brought this up. Okay, and it's going to bring you, it's going to actually ask you some stuff like, it's going to ask you to have a username. Okay, and so you're just going to give it a username like name of your computer. My computer's name Cogni. Okay, and then it's going to ask you for a password. Okay, so that can just be 2 numbers, 4 numbers. It could be, you know, 1 number. I think it could just be blank if you want. Okay, but it's just going to ask you for a username. It's going to ask you for a password. Okay, then you're going to get into here and you'll see that mine's set up as Cogni. So yours, if you called it Fred, it would be Fred. Okay, and it's, you know, whatever your Windows machine is. Now you'll notice it pops us into this base folder. Now it's a little bit kind of strange to the file structure, okay, is very different in Windows Subsystem for Linux. It's not the same as with our Windows. So if you type cd ... that's going to take you back one directory. You see it's going to put you in your home directory. So basically what we're in is this is the kind of the equivalent if you go to your Windows Explorer and you go to users. Okay, so like where we are now, home is basically the same as this. Okay, and then if we went, you see you've got a folder named Cogni. If you went cd Cogni, that would be the same as, like, say, like clicking on one of these. Okay, so that's essentially what that is, but it's in a different location because Linux uses a different file structure than Windows does. And remember, this is emulating it. Okay, so again, if we go back cd ... well, you know, here we could just do our work here, but I want to show you how it's kind of confusing. If we go cd ... okay, again, now we're going to go back out of that and we type ls. You're going to see we got a bunch of different folders. Now this mount basically is the back door into our Windows system. So if you type cd, which means change directory, type mount, it's going to put us there. Now you'll see that we've got a C drive, I got a D drive. So then if I want to go to my D drive, I type cdd. Then if I want to go to my staging, I would go to cd staging. Same thing, ls. Could go cd comfy WSL. Okay, so whoops. Okay, so there you would see. So that's a lot of work to get in there, but it's fine. If I create something in this folder, if I say nano, that's the way that you can create a file. I'm just going to call it test, and I'll go hi. Okay, I'm going to press Control O to save it, and then I'll press Control X to exit, and I'll press Y to confirm it. If I go over to that folder on my Explorer here, you'll see that there it is. Okay, so at this point, mount D staging Comfy WSL is the same thing as being in that over here in my Windows Explorer. But again, that's not where it starts us at. So I'm going to go CD, I'm going to go back one folder, then I'm going to put this / back another folder. So it's going to push back to stages, push back to D, and then I'm going to do a third one. It's going to push back to the mount. Oh, I could have done another one. Okay. Now what I can do is we want to get to our home directory. Okay. There's our cogni, so we'll go CD cogni. Okay, now this is, again, where it default brings us to. Okay, so when you are doing a manual install and you start up your WSL, it's going to bring you here. Again, if you're doing the click stuff, I'm going to delete that real quick. If you're doing just the one click, you just click WSL open, and it will literally open you up in whatever directory you clicked open in. Okay, so I could be in any directory, click that, and it'll automatically put me in the correct place. But for the manual install, this is where it's going to put it. And so we can do our work here. And a lot of times what we do is we end up installing software in here. The problem with that being that when you do create your software in your home directory within WSL, it's difficult to get the information out of it because you still, again, if I want to start interacting with the Windows File Explorer, I've got to go back there through the CD MNT, and then I got to CDD, CD state. I got to find my way all the way back to folder. So it's a little bit difficult. I'm going to show you a trick, though, that we can add something to our registry that's going to make it so that we can easily get in and out of our WSL, kind of like what I was doing over there. Okay, so before we do that, though, okay, we're going to worry about that when it gets to the point of installing the actual software. Right now, what we need to do is we need to set up the Cuda, and we need to set up our Cuda deep neural network, and we need to get Miniconda and all that. So we're going to continue to work on that. But we can do that here where we're at. So let's just take a second here and we'll get into that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hop on over to our browser. Let's go to YouTube, and you need to find this video, installing Cuda in WSL. Okay, so this is one of my earlier videos, so the quality of the sound is not that great. Same ugly face, though, but I probably made this like 3 in the morning. But you get all the good information, all that same good information. So you're going to go through here, and you're going to get your step-by-step stuff. So I'll walk you through really basically what you need to do. You're going to need to get your Cuda installed. You got to follow these steps, okay? But do a search for Cuda 12.4 download, okay? And we're choosing 12.4 for this because typically I keep Cuda 11.8 on my system, and because so much software kind of relies on it, just works good with it. But then because there's a lot of software that needs Cuda 12, running it out on my Windows subsystem for Linux, and then I've got like 2 different Cudas installed, because you can't have, I mean, I guess theoretically you could have 2 on a system, but then you got to be doing all sorts of wonky commands to, So basically 11.8 is on my Windows system, and then we can install 12.4 on our Windows subsystem for Linux. Okay, so go ahead and you're going to do that search, Cuda 12.4. We'll click on that bad boy. Now, it's going to just bring you through here. Operating system for this one, we're going to click Linux. Okay, I know, a little bit different. Then we're going to click this x86_64. And then it's going to show all the distributions. We want WSL Ubuntu. Okay, we'll click it, version 2. We'll click this local. So then what it's going to do is it's going to give you all of these instructions. Oops, I lost my thing here. Hold on just one moment. There we go. Okay, so then it's going to go ahead and it's going to give you all of these commands. So effectively what you're just going to do is highlight all of these. Just hit the Control-C to copy them. And then you're going to pop on back over to your, where did that go? Hold on. Oh, back over to here. Okay. Now, we were making a big deal about this being in that in your home directory here, but what we're doing is we're installing environmental stuff. So what you're just going to basically do is just paste it into here. And you can, nice thing about Windows Linux, the nice thing about the Linux thing is that actually it can handle multiple commands. If you tried to paste in 5 commands into the Windows terminal, man, it ain't going to work. But this one will actually go through step by step. So just follow these instructions, okay? And then we're going to need to actually set some parameters. So what we're going to do is, well, yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. Then the next thing we do, before we do that, we need to get our deep neural network. Again, I'm just blowing through this stuff real fast with you because it's covered in the video, but effectively here, you're going to do the same thing. This time, though, we're going to be looking for our, I'm not quite sure how to find this in Google, but I think we would just type, let's type developer NVIDIA CudNN, okay? And we can click that. Okay, there we go. There we go. So that was the one we needed. You find this one, NVIDIA CudNN Cuda Deep Neural Network. So click on that. We're going to do the same thing. Download CudNN, the Deep Neural Network library. We're going to click on our Linux, x86, 64, Ubuntu. And then now we're going to go ahead and do it for version 22.04 because, well, you should be doing it for 22.04. So actually, let me show you how to check to make sure that you have the right version. Hold on. So really quickly, actually, whoops, we're on the wrong page here. Really quickly, what we're going to do is pop on over to our desktop. And let's get rid of this stuff. And we're just going to go over here, hit our start menu. Let's type the word PowerShell. It's going to bring us Windows PowerShell. So now bring up here and just type WSL and hit -- and then version. Okay, and it's going to show you your versions over here. Okay, so it shouldn't really actually matter for you, but what we want is we really do want this 22.04 version. That's what we're going to end up using with our base installer. I guess it doesn't matter if you're doing it manually, but you need to find out what version that you have. Okay, so we're going to click on that. Then we're going to click on Deb. Let me go ahead and put this back up here so we can see where we're going. Just a moment. Okay, actually, what we can, let's do this really quickly. Let's pop on over here. And what we do, go over here, do a search for www.cognibuild.ai. That is my web page. It's going to bring you here. Just click on the blog. Okay, you're going to see one here that says install Windows subsystem for Linux from PowerShell. So we went ahead and we clicked through the Windows environment thing. We turn Windows features on and off. But let's go ahead and click here. And you're going to see that it says basically the same thing that we were just at. Type PowerShell. Grab this command. What we're going to do here is this is going to actually, you've already turned on your Windows subsystem for Linux. If you don't have 22.4, just copy this command. Go back over to your PowerShell. Let's see where that is at here. And just paste, here it is. Just paste it in. Trying to get this, so that's not there. All right, so just paste it in, hit enter, and it'll go ahead and it'll make sure that you have the right one. See, and then it actually ran it for me. It'll go and find the right version. So if you're not running 22.4, go ahead and do that. Then, now, okay, I'm sorry for the confusion. Getting back here, we go back to our deep neural network stuff here. We're going to click 22.0, deb local, and then we've got the same thing. We got a whole bunch of stuff. This wget is going to download the stuff that's kind of the same as our curl commands in Windows. These sudo, basically it means just give you upgraded permissions. So when you run these, it's going to ask for your password. No big deal. Okay, so we're going to do all of these. Okay, copy them. Go over to your command line. Paste those bad boys in. Let's get rid of this stuff here that was there. I guess I could just hit enter and then cancel it. Okay, so same thing then, just paste it over there. It's going to put it all in there, okay? Oh, good Lord. Hold on. All right, but notice that we didn't grab this one, because we want to go down here and add this one. So only add these into here and then add this, okay? Now, it's going to run for a bit to get these installed. You're going to think you're done, but you're not. We still got another step to go. Okay, we're going to need to go ahead and set the environmental variables so that the system knows where to find it. So going back, staying here on the blog or reloading it, just go to the search bar and type in WSL. Okay, it's going to bring up another screen, and you're going to find this one here that says adding Cuda and CudNN to the environment. Click it. Okay, now it's going to go ahead and give you this stuff here, and all we're going to do is just copy it and paste it. But you've got to have to make some changes on here. Okay, notice it says 11.8. That needs to be 12.4. So let's go ahead and just take one at a time. Go back over to our command line thing, if we can find it here. Okay, and this was hit Control V to paste it. Scroll back here, and since we didn't install 11.8, we're going to change that to 12.4. Okay, so all that does is that export is it sets an environmental variable. Again, environmental variables are the things that the computer says when you tell it to do something. It goes, do I know how to do that? And it goes, looks at this file to say, is that in there? And it goes, oh, it is in there. Oh, okay, this is what I do. So we're going to kind of pop back and forth from this. Grab the next one. You're going to do the same thing. Just copy it. Go back to your command line. Find it. Paste it in. Same thing. Use the left arrow. And we're going to scroll back over. Change that to 12.4. Okay. If I made an error on that. So I'm not going to... I screwed something up. But you'll change it to 12.4. Just like we did with the other one. Okay. Then you'll hit enter. And then we'll go back over to get our final one. And then this, we have to have this, is very important. So basically what this does is it updates the way that Windows subsystem opens up every time. So basically there's a file that every time it opens up, it looks at that file to see all of the stuff that's in there, like the environmental variables. So we just paste that in there, hit enter, same thing. She's going to go ahead and update that file. Okay, now one more thing. So you're pretty much done at this point with setting up your Cuda and your Cuda deep neural network. And this will have taken some time because these are big files. Okay, but you want to go over here and you want to do this stuff to see if it's been installed. So grab that where it says NVCC dash is it dash version. Okay, you go back to your command line over here. You're in your WSL. Okay, and you can tell because it says CogniBuild or whatever. Yours will say something different, but you just paste that in there. Okay, and look what it does. See. Now it shows this. If it's not installed correctly, you won't get this. And it could be installed correctly but not have the right environmental variables, which is why that last step was so important. Okay, and we can do the same thing for the deep neural network. We go to back to here, and you grab this thing here, which is basically a giant search thing to look for files. So effectively what we're doing is we're searching for a file. So I'm going to type clear to clear that out. Okay. And there you go. It found the deep neural network files. If you load this, if you type that in there and it does not show, it's not finding it. Okay. Now it can be in a different location, so you can always try throwing this into ChatGPT and saying, "Hey, listen, I installed CudNN, and then I ran this and it says it's not found." ChatGPT will suggest another location to look, okay? But this is the one that should be working, especially if you're using the version of WSL that we just installed. So you're installed, okay? Now you're going to have to go in there and you're going to have to install your Miniconda, okay? You're going to have to, you know, so that you can download stuff. Again, I can't express great enough how honestly, just if you're already a member or you want to be a member, just come over and get this thing, and all you got to do is click this and it does all of it for you. It literally, like, you click it and it does it. Okay, all you gotta, in fact, you don't even have to have. I had someone the other day, they were upset that I didn't tell them that you have to have Conda installed when you're doing some of these other one clicks, you know, which I've always been very clear. You guys got to have your system set up. Well, with this truly is a one click. You just click it. It's going to set up your WSL. It's going to put it all. So it's so much easier. Okay. But regardless, if you're doing this manually, you got to install your Miniconda. Okay. And I think the easiest way for you to do that is just going to go to ChatGPT. Okay. And just ask it how to install Miniconda in WSL, and it's going to give you the stuff. So it's going to give you a wget command. Wget is the same thing as when we're in our terminal and we use the curl command. So it's going to download it, okay? It's going to go to this website, and notice it's going to download an sh file. Sh is a script file for Linux, okay? You can't run bat files in Linux. Again, with the installer stuff that I've got going over here, we're going to be able to use bat files to open up Hunyuan, because I've set it up so that we can use a bat file to call these scripts and everything. But in our manual, what we need to do is we need to run this. It's going to download it, the installer. Then we're going to have to go over here and you're going to run this chmod. Effectively, what that does is it turns .sh into a Linux style bat file. So if you download it, it's just a file. It's not executable, okay? Like you can't actually execute it. So this chmod plus x basically is saying modify the file, make it so that you can run it, okay? And then you put the name of the file. It's going to do that, and then you're going to just type this to actually run it. Now notice this dot. This dot's very important. If we were in Windows and we wanted to run this file, all we'd have to do is just type the name of the file. In Linux, you have to put the dot, which means that you're telling it the location in this folder. One dot means the folder that you're in, okay? So in this folder, / run this file. Okay, and then it's going to go ahead. It's going to run. It's going to go through an installation. You got to press the space bar a bunch of times. And you're going to have to type yes, and you just follow through it, and it's going to install it. But there's something you have to do. Now, it's not pointing it out here. It's made a mistake. Okay, after it's installed, you've got to go to your command line and you have to type this. You have to type conda init. Okay? Have to. If you do not do this, it will not work. Okay? That initializes your conda. So ChatGPT screwed that up. Okay? That's fine. We can forgive it. It's good at so many other things. Whoops. Hey, there I am. Okay. Here's where we want to be. But then you notice over here, then we're going to go over here and we're going to type source tilde and then this bash rc. So basically what it's that tilde is telling it to look in your user folder. So if you remember when we first loaded it up, it loaded us up to to Cogni. We were in there. So it's saying go to there and find this folder, and it's a hidden one there. So that's just kind of pushing it. It's like if I was in one directory, that tilde is saying go to this other directory and start from there. Okay, so conda init, and then you've got to update your bash rc, because that loads every time you load your Windows subsystem for Linux. Okay, and then you can copy this if you want, and you can just check to make sure that it works. So you go here, type conda -- version. Conda is the app, and then we're saying give us your version, and then it's going to give us your version. If it doesn't find a version, it ain't going to work. Okay, and now it can be there, and let's say you try to activate, like you do it. It says okay, it's installed, and I go conda activate, and I'm going to activate this directory. Now notice it activated my directory, but if you haven't done the init, it will say that it can't do it unless you initialize it. So you've got to do that first, but once you get all this stuff, you're ready to go. You have your Cuda deep neural network going, you've got Cuda installed, you got this installed, and now we can get to the actual installation of ComfyUI and the Hunyuan video image generator. Brain fart. All right, hold on. Let me take a 5-minute break here, and we'll be right back. It's just gonna feel like a second for you. Oh, you hold on. Okay, so we're back now. We're going to go ahead and install our ComfyUI, but now remember, when we open up our WSL, we get into a place like this, and remember, this is akin to on our Windows being in our user directory, and then you got all the different users, mom, dad, baby brother, or whatever, all that kind of stuff. And so you're in your thing here. Now you can install this here, but it's very difficult to access from Windows. So once you get into Windows and you're in Explorer, it's difficult. Let me show you. I mean, there's a way you can do it. You got to go down here and click on this Linux, and then you got to drill into your thing, and then you got to go find your home, your cogni. You know, it's difficult. Okay, and then you got to drag and drop stuff out of there. So it's doable, and it's what you got to do. Okay, but if you install, it's going to install it to here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set you up to give you a registry thing that you can just click so that you can essentially just get into the correct folder. Now, if you want to do the auto install, you got to go get the auto install for. We had our auto install for the Windows subsystem for Linux that gets your system set up. But there's an auto install for the Hunyuan and the ComfyUI. It'll download ComfyUI. It'll do all the other stuff too. So you can do that. That's the fastest way. But and it uses this same basic technology of saying that you're in the folder and this is where we're going to go from. Now, with this manual install that we're going to continue with, we're going to go over here and I'm going to show you how to add something to your registry so that effectively you can still get into WSL from whatever folder you're in, okay? Because it's just too hard the other way. So Merry Christmas, you shake your hand, Feliz Navidad, you know, Mele Clicky Mock and all that. So let's pop on over here to the browser, okay? And what we'll do is I'll show you how to do that really quick. So let's see if I can figure out where this button went. Let's click there. Okay, so let's go back over here. We're gonna go back to the blog. Again, the blog is cognibuild.ai. Okay, so it brings you here. Click on the blog. Okay, look for this one over here. It says install Windows subsystem for Linux from PowerShell. Okay, click on it. Now that's going to bring up this, okay, and it's really easy. Oh no, this is install. I clicked the wrong one. We want this one. Open up WSL in current window. Right click context menu. So click on that, okay, and what we're going to see is this has a we're going to have to create a file, and this is the information we're going to put in there. That's going to add it. I also have added here how to remove it. So later, if you want to get rid of it, this will delete the registry entry. Now, again, I guess I need to just say that you want to be careful when you're playing around with your registry, because your registry, it's what's that saying? It says, be careful about your heart, because out of the heart flows all the issues of life. Well, when you're dealing with Windows, all the issues of life comes flowing out of that registry. So you don't want to just go willy-nilly tick-tocking around inside of there and doing stuff. But what we're going to do is we're going to add a simple line that's going to add some stuff to our registry, and then if we want to get rid of it, we can just add this other one and get rid of it, okay? So we can get out, and it's going to work good, okay? I'll show you what that looks like here. Notice you'll go over here. I think we might have to go to desktop. Let's get this out of here. Now, notice if I go over to a folder here and I right click, and I go down here to show more options, you're going to see it says open in WSL, okay? That's what we're going to add. So when you click it, notice it's going to load it up, and then I'm actually in the folder that we were in, okay? So on a side note, you notice open in terminal will open up your one, but notice over here, if we go show more options, there's one that says open terminal as administrator. That's really nice as well. That's just a side note. You can actually go over, that's free over there, how to set that up. That might actually be here on my blog as well, but you can set that up too, just a little wink wink. Okay, but we're going to put this open in WSL thing. So let's pop back over to our browser, and here's what we're going to do. We're just going to go ahead and copy this. Okay, we'll just copy all of that. Okay, Control C, and notice it says create a file called WSL install context.reg. So I misspelt it, but it doesn't really matter the name of it. Okay, it's just so that you know what it is. Okay, so what we're going to do, it doesn't matter what folder you do this in. Okay, you just got to be in a folder. So I'm going to go over to let's go and make a temp folder. I'm going to go over to this temp folder. Okay, now let's get over to there. And what we're going to do here is all you're going to do is, whoops, you're going to right click. Let's see, desktop here. Let's do that. You're going to just right click it, go new text document, and let's just call it WSL reg context. And then we have to give it .reg, okay? So that's the file type, like we have .txt or .bat, so we want to be a .reg. So we're going to go ahead, create the file, and that creates a blank file. So then we right-click on it, we go Edit in Notepad. It's going to pop this bad boy up. I'm going to close some of this stuff out here. And then we just going to hit Control-V, okay? So it's going to put it all in there, and then we just press Control-S to save it, okay? You can do the same thing. We can pop back over to here, and you can do the same thing, copy that, create the file. All you got to do is then just click on it. It says, do you want to allow this app to make changes? You put yes. Adding information can unintentionally change or delete values, blah, 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 blah. So registry, no small thing, okay? But you just click yes, and it adds it. Now, if you're in the D, you can go to show more options, open in WSL, and notice now we are in the same folder. So this is what we're going to do, okay? For the rest of this installation, you're going to need to have the right click, show more options, open in WSL to get it to work. Okay, so let's move forward. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Let's get back to the folder that we're working on here. Or let's find, actually, we'll keep it in here. Let's just go ahead and do it in this temp folder. So what we need to do is go to our browser, and now we're going to figure out how do we install ComfyUI into WSL. So let's do a Google search. We're going to go ComfyUI GitHub. Okay. So she's going to bring this one up. We look for Comfy Anonymous. Click it. Scroll down. Okay, so all this installing, I guess we click that. Now notice it says Windows has a direct link, so it has an easy install. It has the portable version. No portable version for the Linux version. So what we're going to do is go to this one here. It says note some dependencies do not yet support 3.13 Python or Python 3.12. We're going to be using Python 3.10.11, I guess, or if you got 3.11.10, that's great too. Whatever, it ain't really going to matter as long as you don't have these. Don't upgrade your system to 3.12, which, by the way, is another reason why trying to install Sage Attention and stuff on your Windows, it forces you to upgrade to 3.12, but then look at that, it busts you upgrade it busts your ComfyUI. So great, you got suddenly fast video generation on your Windows side of things, but you can't do anything else. You've screwed up your system. Okay, so okay, anyway, calm myself down. All right, let's go back to the browser here. All right, so you do not have 3.12. Make sure you don't have 3.12. You got something less. So we go and git clone the repo. Okay, we're going to have to download some models if you want to use it for images. Okay, it's going to go in the. We'll look at through this. It's going to go in the models folder, the checkpoints. We don't have to have anything to start with, and particularly all that we're going to do with the rest of this installation is just download the Hunyuan one. So we're not going to go get Dream Booth. We're not going to go get Stable Diffusion. Any of that. You can do that later on your own. Okay. So all we really got to do is git clone this repo. Then we're going to go down here to where it says NVIDIA. And if you've got AMD, then follow this directions. But we're going to go ahead and follow the NVIDIA ones. Okay. And notice it's going to have us pip install Torch. Okay, before we do that, we have to install the Cuda toolkit. So it doesn't mention it in here. We installed Cuda, okay, the Cuda drivers, but then we need to install the Cuda toolkit. And that's, again, it's like, say like Cuda is the factory, but Cuda toolkit is the road that gets us there. Okay, so you got a factory, great, but if you don't got a truck and a road that gets there and back, then it don't matter what kind of factory you got because it's inaccessible. So Cuda toolkit is what makes the Cuda drivers accessible for our use. So we're going to go through this, but we're going to keep in mind that this isn't exactly correct. Okay, and notice it is using Cuda 12.4, which is why we went ahead and did that for our WSL. our Windows system can still be 11.8, and I still encourage you to keep your Windows system 11.8. For with our Windows subsystem for Linux, we installed it as 12.4 because we knew that it was going to need this. Okay, so we're just going to go through this, and then I pretty much believe that's it. And then we're going to be able to run. But there's a few other things that we're going to do manually to make sure that Sage is working. So let's start here with the first thing. Let's git clone this repo. So let's go to the top of the page. Let me make sure you can see this. And we click on code. Yeah, that does show you. So click over here on HTTPS and just copy that. Click that button. It's going to copy it. Okay. So we're going to end up using git clone to do this. So now let's go ahead and pop over to our Windows Explorer. And remember, we've added, if I can, all right. Remember, we added the right click context. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're in the folder that we want to be in. Okay. We're going to install here. If we did it the other way, we would be, we'd be in the home directory, you know, of WSL, but we're going to be in the D drive on the temp folder from my computer. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to go show more options. I'm going to say open in WSL. Okay. So it's going to go ahead. It's going to pull us over to here. And there we have it. Okay. We're in the correct folder. Now I'm going to type git clone. Okay. Git is the name of the software that pulls our repo stuff down. And what do we want to do? We want to clone something. And what do I want to clone? Well, we wanted to clone ComfyUI. Okay. So hit it. Now it's going to go ahead and clone it. It goes like this. It goes greep. And I wish it made that sound, but it doesn't. Actually, I'd like that sound for about half a second and then it'd get obnoxious. But okay, so we've gone ahead and cloned it. If we go ahead and type ls, you'll see that there is the ComfyUI folder. So we can type cd ComfyUI, and that's going to put us in the folder now. Now I'm going to type ls again. That's kind of list the it's like a list command. You can also type dir. You'll see the difference. See, dir puts everything out just one way. When you type ls, it puts it all out, but it keeps the folders highlighted. So ls is kind of nice for that. So you're going to see we've got all these folders. There's our models folder that we're going to be using here in a little bit. And there's main.py. We're going to be using this to run the app. Okay, so that's going to be important to do. So now if we go back over to our browser here, we're going to see that okay, scroll back down, blurp blurp blurp, it wants us to install Torch, but like I said, we've got to create a virtual environment first, and then we've got to install the Cuda toolkit. Okay, so the virtual environment is going to be so that well, I mean, honestly, you could do this on your base system since it's WSL, but we're going to do other stuff too. You want to keep it, it's like putting it in a packet. Okay, it's like saying this room over here is the video generation room. This room is the audio room. This, you know, it's like you're gonna do video, you go to this room. This app is for this room. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back over to our command line. Gosh, I got so many windows going up here. I get confused for a second. Okay, I'm gonna clear the screen. Clear screen is clear mind. And we installed Miniconda. We can still check it again by typing Conda. Okay, it pops stuff up, so it's there. So let's go ahead and we're going to go Conda create. Okay, and then I'm going to go -- name. So Conda is the application we're calling. We're saying what we want to do is create, and then we're going to say, I'm about to give you the name. That's what that -- name, and we just call it Comfy. Now, the nice thing about this is even if you have installed Python 3.12 or 13 on your system, which shame on you if you did, okay, you can still go Python equals 3.10, okay, and it will go ahead and do that. Okay, now mine's going to go ahead and say that it already exists, so I'm just going to go ahead and click no, but you would click yes, and it will go ahead and create that. Then what you need to do is you need to type conda activate comfy. Okay, not ComfyUI. We just called it comfy because that was the name we gave it. Okay, and you can see now we're in the environment. Okay, now if you have not used Conda init, remember I told you Conda init is so important. If you haven't used that properly, it will say that it can't be activated before it's initialized. Then all you would do is type Conda init, and then you would do your source tilde dot bash rc, I think. Yep. Okay. Yep. And that's what it would do. Then if you tried it, it'll work. Okay. So if you get an error, it's because you didn't initialize it. You either didn't get Miniconda installed correctly, you didn't initialize it correctly, or you didn't add it to the bash. Okay. But now you have. So good job. I'm very happy for you. Pat yourself on the back. Yo. And now you can activate your thing. Notice it kicked us out of there when I did that. So I'm going to go ahead back into it. Conda activate. Comfy. Okay, there we go. I'm going to clear the screen. And so we type clear when we're in Linux. Okay, in Windows we just use CLS, but in Linux we use the word clear. Okay, so let's pop back over to our browser. We're in the thing now. Notice it wants us to install Torch Vision, Torch Audio, but it's going to be with Cuda. So before we do this, we can still copy this, get ready. Before we do this, though, we need to get the Cuda toolkit set up. So let's go back over here and let's go Conda. That's the app. What we want to do, we want to install. Let's go -C, NVIDIA, Cuda. Now it's a little different. In Windows, we just type Cuda toolkit as one word. In Linux, we're going to go Cuda -toolkit. And then we're going to go equals, and you only need one. When you're using Python, you got to use, or when you're using, pip, you got to use 2 equals. With Conda, you only need 1. But we're going to go 12.4. Okay? So it's going to go ahead and find it. Now, this always takes a little bit. Well, okay. So check it out. It said this package is not available for the specified platform. So you remember we talked about catalogs. When we type -C, we're saying we want to look at this catalog called NVIDIA. Basically, this is the system's way of saying we don't have that catalog. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and copy this, okay? And then go over to your browser, and we're going to pop on over to ChatGPT, and we're just going to say, I got this when running a Conda command in Linux, and say, how do I add the catalog? Oh, actually, but let's go actually back and let's paste in there what we did. Let's say I ran this. I'm going to put a colon. There we go. And got this. Okay. How do I add the catalog? So it's going to go ahead. And it says it's trying to fetch a package that doesn't exist for your platform. So that's the same thing they were saying. So it's going to have us give us some stuff. Okay, so this is the one we want. Conda config add channels in NVIDIA. So we're just going to copy that. Okay. Then we're going to go back over to our command line. Going to paste that in there. So we're calling Conda. We're saying, listen, we want to work with the config file. And what do we want to do with it? We want to add to it a channel. And the name of the channel is NVIDIA. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now if we go back up, we can just hit the up arrow to go back to our Cuda toolkit thing. Now it'll run. Okay, and it didn't work again. Okay, so that actually means that we need to do this. Okay, and so what we're going to do actually is we need to update the Conda thing. So sometimes these things install and they don't have everything in them that we need. So really easy, we're just going to do this. We're going to type in Conda, update Conda. Okay, it's going to go ahead and do that. Then you're going to go type Conda, update, and then we're going to go all. Okay, now I've already done this on my system here while I pause for a second. It's going to run through here. It'll look for stuff like this, and it's going to download a bunch of stuff. Now, if we go back here, okay, and we hit the up arrow, we get back to where we got to. Now we're going to hit this. It's going to take just a second. Now it's going to go ahead and load it for us. So we're going to put yes. And remember, with this Cuda toolkit, we put a dash between Cuda and toolkit. Okay, now it's going to go through there and it's going to download and install it. Now we can go ahead and paste in that paste in the torch command. So let's go back to our browser. Okay, where are we at over here? Where were we? I opened some stuff up here while we were gone. There we go. Good Lord. All right. So we'll just highlight this. We're going to pip install. So pip is the package installed for Python. We're going to install Torch, Torch Vision, Torch Audio. And then we're going to say download it from this location. We want a very particular version of it. So we don't just want the blue shoes. We want the blue shoes from this place. Okay. So now if we click on back over to our command line, we've got our Cuda toolkit set up. We are in our virtual environment. Now we can go ahead, pip install this. Mine went very fast because it's already installed. Okay. So that's good news. Okay. Now, this is where we get to the fun stuff. We're going to go type pip install. Watch how you're going to, you guys who have actually set this up on Windows, this is going to blow your mind. Okay. We're just going to go pip install Triton. Be done with it. Okay. And it's going to just install it. Okay, then we're going to go pip install Sage Attention. And it's done with it, okay? So mine's already in there, but yours, it'll do the exact same thing. It's just done. Now, when you're on Windows and you do that, it's like you got to install this, you got to do this, you got to do that. It's so much you have to do. But all you got to do with Linux is just to pip install it. And the beautiful thing is we don't have to switch over to Linux because we've got this subsystem for Linux. And now that we've got it set up, it was a little bit of work at the beginning. Unless you got the one click, then it was just like you clicked it, it was done. This was a lot of work, but just some work, you get it done. But now it's done. Okay. And now you go in here, and if you're going to install anything else that needs Sage Attention or Triton, you just pip install it. Okay. And it's not messing anything up with your Windows system. So that is some serious groovitudes. Okay. So we now have this installed. We've installed our requirements. We've called it Sage Attention. We've installed Triton. There's really nothing left to do. So all we got to do now is run the app. Now we haven't installed Hunyuan yet, but let's just go ahead and confirm that we got this working. So I'm going to clear this. If you type ls, you're going to see that there is a folder over here, or a file called main.py. So let's go Python main.py. Okay, that's it. Now it's going to go ahead and load it. Notice it found your NVIDIA. Okay, and there it goes, starting servers. To see the GUI, go here. So you just left click, or you hold the control button down and left click that, and then it's going to pop up to your browser. And there you have it. It'll come up to here. And so this is the main thing. Now, it has a default model in here, but we didn't download the model. If you wanted to get this, you just have to go to your browser and download it. V1.5 pruned or whatever, or go to Civitai, get yourself something and put it in there. Now the beautiful thing is, because we used that registry hack, okay, to get this in here, we can just go over to where we installed it. Where were we at? We were on the temp one here. Okay, we can just actually drag it into here. So you go to where you installed it, ComfyUI, models, and then you go to checkpoints, and you just put it here. So you can go to Civitai, get your Dream Booth, or your Dreamscaper, or whatever. Okay, all that good stuff, and you can throw that in here. If we were doing this directly through the user base that without the registry trick that we used, we'd have to go down here, drill into here to try to drop it, or get a wget command. So the bottom line is it'd be a bigger pain in the butt. But we use that registry hack, so all we got to do is find our installation, click on it, go to models, go to checkpoints, and put it in there. Okay, we're going to move on with it though. We haven't put anything there, but we can see here that it is working. Okay, we've got this up. So now what we want to do is we want to install Hunyuan. Okay, so it's not going to be that difficult now that we've got everything set up. What we just did here is we set up ComfyUI. Okay, ComfyUI is done now. You got all your other nodes you want to set up, you can set them up. You can do all your other extensions now because we have your base ComfyUI set up. So we'll put that aside. Project 1 is done. Okay, the base level, she's done. Now, putting that aside, we go to the next project, which is going to be installing Hunyuan. Okay, and again, as I mentioned, because we have this base installed, we're going to be able to, from this point on, grab other projects and put it on there, right? The base will always stay the same, but we will Hunyuan, or we'll put LTX, we'll put Cog Studio. All of these things are going to run faster now that we've got a base of ComfyUI that has Sage attention. Okay, and I'm going to start releasing how installers for those in these because it really does run faster. So let's move on with the Hunyuan installation now, and then we're basically done, yo. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this installed. We got ComfyUI going, so let's get that. Let's pop over to our browser and we just head back to. Looks like that window ain't showing up. Hold on. Head back to the blog here on my page, cognibuild.ai. Now, there's going to be one here that says, what does it say? Oh, whoops, we're on the WSL page, so we need to undo the search. Let's just click the blog. Click again. All right. So we want this one, ComfyUI Hunyuan video wrapper. So we're going to click this. Now, this is going to give us the link to the GitHub repo. So let's go ahead and click on that. Okay. So here is the repo. So we're going to end up copying this whole thing down. So let me make sure you can see this. Okay. So let's just, I'm going to tell you, let's click on this code, click HTTPS, and let's just copy that. Okay, we got that ready. But now we're going to scroll down and it's going to give us our directions here. So notice it's got torch with Cuda. This is going to be Cuda. You can't, if you're not running Cuda, I don't know that it'll work for you or not. So again, all this stuff works on NVIDIA, the vast majority of it. All right, so basically what it's going to want us to do is we're going to need to clone the repo, which we'll do, and then we're going to have to download these files, and it's going to show us where to put them. So it says we're going to put them in the folder called Diffusion Models, and then we're going to put the VAEs in the one that's called VAE. Okay, it just really isn't that difficult, but they're big downloads. Okay, they're going to take a long time. You're going to end up being like 60 gigabytes or something, maybe 40, maybe 40. It's a lot. Okay, it takes a long time to download these, but we're going to do it because we got committed, yo. So let's pop over to our File Explorer. Now, we're going to go to where we had installed this thing. So I put mine in the temp, okay? So what are we going to do here? We're going to just go over here to ComfyUI. We're going to click into the folder. Okay, then we got to go to custom nodes. Okay, so this is where we're going to install the repo here. And actually, this just reminded me we need to make sure that we've installed the video manager. So we're going to go back and do that here in a second. But first, let's go ahead and just follow through with getting the Hunyuan repo installed here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to click the desktop here. Let's go ahead and right click on here, and we're going to go to our show more options, and we're going to open in WSL. Okay, and it's going to bring this here. Okay, so we're in the custom nodes, so we're just going to type git clone. So git again is the application we need to bring it down. Clone is the word, tells it what it wants to do. We want it to clone, and then we want to clone this directory. So now you're going to see over here, look at it, created it here while it's downloading it. It's done. So now it's got the pieces that it needs to run. Now we're still going to have to do some other stuff to get it to work, because just for some reason it doesn't integrate directly in there, but at least we have the main files. Now while we're here, let's go over really quickly and get the video manager. The video manager is necessary because when you're missing nodes, Nodes are the boxes that we use in ComfyUI. It flows from one node to another node. If some of those aren't installed, the Comfy Manager will help us to get it. So what we're going to do is we do a search for ComfyUI Manager. It's going to bring this one up from, I guess is it LTD, leader data? Okay. We're going to click there. All right. And if you scroll down, it says how to install it. So you go to the custom nodes, which were already there, and then you git clone it. So we're same thing. We're just going to copy this. Okay. We're going to go back over to, we're already in the custom nodes. So we'll type git. Oh no, that we already had it there. So we'll just paste it in there. Okay. So now it's going to go ahead and get that. And that's going to be important because this one that we downloaded, the Hunyuan video wrapper, it loads, but it's got errors, so that we're going to need to use this manager to fix it when we get in. But that'll come later. You'll see that. Okay, let's plop back on over to, let's close this out. Let's go back to our directions here. So now what we've got to do is we need to download these files. Okay, so we're going to right click on this and open it in a new tab. Okay, and notice it's got these safe tensors. Okay, and then it's got these VAEs. Now it says the VAEs need to go in the VAE folder, and the diffusion models, that's the safe tensors, need to go in the diffusion models folder. So what we're going to do, we're just going to grab one of these, okay? We're not going to do the whole thing. FP8 is probably your best bet, especially if you have a smaller GPU. That's going to be like your 16 gigabytes. I don't know if you're going to be able to get this running on a 12, but with the Sage Attention, I would be curious to find out. Maybe you are. I don't know. But you're definitely going to do the FP8. So let's stick with this one. All we're going to do is we're just going to click the download button, okay? Then we're going to go on over here. We're going to find where we installed this, okay? I know it gets a little bit confusing because we're doing stuff in WSL and we're doing stuff in Windows Explorer, but that's kind of the beauty of this, is how we're able to kind of integrate these things to make it easier for us. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go into our installation directory, go models, and you're going to see this one that says diffusion models. If it's not there, then just create it, but it's there, okay? So you click it, and then we're just going to click save. Okay, and then you'll see it download. It's going to take a little while because it's a large, it's a large file. All right, now then we want to get the corresponding VAE. So this one's only 500 megabytes. We're going to grab this one. Same thing, we're going to download it. So we go to where we installed. We got our ComfyUI. We go to our models, but for this one, we're going to put it here under VAE. Okay, and we click save. Hey, yo, dude, we is in the money. Okay, now let's go back here. Now it needs to get this text encoder. Okay, so same thing. It's going to go here. It says into the ComfyUI, into models, but then it's going to go into a folder called LLM. Now, if we go over to where we've installed this stuff, we go to our models folder, you're going to notice, oh my God, there is no LLM folder. Okay, don't sweat. Just right click, go new folder, and just type in LLM. Easy as that. Okay, now we're just going to go ahead. It's going to just be easier just to git clone the whole thing. So we'll, same thing, we're going to right click on this, open link in new tab, and it's going to pop us here. Now we'll click files and versions so you can see everything. Okay, look at it, it's a bunch more. It's like another 5 gigabytes, 5 gigabytes. So it's, you know, that's like 11 gigabytes right there on top of your 16s. That's 27. You know, so we're getting up there. So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to git clone this. So this is from Hugging Face though, so we can still use git clone, but we're just going to go like this. Hit Control C, okay, and we're going to go into our LLM. Okay, so that is now done downloading. So we have it installed. Let's go and run it. So let's go over to our File Explorer. Okay, and let's get into our folder. Here's our ComfyUI. Notice there's this one called main.py. So let's right click on this bad boy, open it in terminal. Okay, well, we don't want to open in terminal. My bad. We need to open this in our WSL. So let's do it. Like, let's go back to here. Okay, let's close all this crap out. All right. So, all right. So same thing. Let's right click, go show more options, and we're going to click open in WSL. So it's going to open it up. Now we're in the folder we need to be in, but notice we need to be in the virtual environment. So we're going to type conda activate comfy. That was the one that we created. Okay, so that has all of our stuff, our Sage attention, our everything else. Okay, so it's going to load. I just realized we still have to get the workflows, but let's just go ahead and get it uploaded. Let's go ahead and run it. So we're going to type python main.py. Easy. Okay, so there it goes. It's going to find, checks your stuff, sees you've got your NVIDIA. It's going to load up, because that's what it does. And there it is. See the GUI go to here. So I'm going to click there. It's going to bring us over to here. But now this is still our basic image generator. Okay, if we wanted to, again, put models on, we put in checkpoints, we could run this. It'd be great. But we need to get a workflow for the Hunyuan video. So we need to go back to our browser over here, and we need to get the workflows. Here's where we find our workflows. If we go to where we installed it, I remember now, I'd forgotten this. If we go here, what we can do is we click on custom nodes, then we go to our video wrapper, and then under here we're gonna have examples. Okay, here is our workflow. So we need these to run the thing. So what we can do is just note where we're at here. We're under ComfyUI custom nodes, Hunyuan video wrapper examples. Okay, we're gonna just work with the text to video one for right now. So we go back to our, I'm getting a little tired, this is a long video, pardon me. Okay, go back to here. Now we're going to click workflow, and then we're going to click open. Okay, now what we got to do is we've got to find our way back to our installation, temp, ComfyUI, custom nodes, video wrapper, examples. Okay, now obviously you can grab these, copy and paste them somewhere else where they're more convenient. So we're going to grab this text to video. Now it's going to load up, but you're going to notice it says missing node types. So remember what I told you why we need the video manager. So you'll see that this manager up here is here, okay? But we're going to click it, and then we're going to, it wouldn't be there if we hadn't have installed it. Then we're going to click install missing custom nodes, and you're going to see it's got some issues. We're going to click here, and we're going to just click install. So we'll just wait for a second. Now this manager is powerful because it goes out and finds the stuff that you need. I mean, ComfyUI, it's a little bit difficult to learn, but it works really good. Okay, so we're going to just click this restart button, press OK. But what we're going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and close the whole thing out, okay, because that tends to work a little bit better. So we'll go back to where we were here. I'm going to hit Control-C, so we stop the server. And then we're just going to go ahead and start it again. Python main.py, noting that we're in our virtual environment. So this time it's going to load up. It'll take a little bit of time because it's reloading the stuff. Oh, look, it didn't take any time. It made a liar out of me. Now you like that. So I'm going to click here. Now it's going to pop us up to here. Now notice it's all there. Here we go. So it loaded us up. Now, I want you to notice this. There's going to be an error here. These are our model names. It says HY video. You got to click over. It's just mistitled. You'll notice it switches to the correct one, and then you can't even switch back. So you put that there. We're already here. And then here we have the video thing, okay? And then up here, you're going to do your width and your height. And now the important thing is this. See this attention mode? SDPA, we're going to click to over here until we get to Sage attention. Yo, that's what we want. Now we can actually run stuff. If we're running on this over here, this SDPA, I could run 512, 320, 85 max. And I've got a 24 gigabyte card, okay? We go over to Sage attention. I could run this up to 200 now. In fact, I could run this up to 900 and something or other, 944 dimensions. So with Sage Attention, it like doubles what you're able to do. Now, what I would do if I were you is start with 512 by 320. Start with something small. Start with just the basic and see what it does. And then you just press, well, sometimes there's a button. I'm not sure why the button's not showing up. Oh, there it is. The Q button down here. All right. So you just press Q. Now I'm kind of afraid to do this because I don't want to crap out my machine because my video runs a lot of resource. So let's turn, I'm going to turn mine way down to like very small, just so it doesn't take much resource, just so we can see that it's working. Okay, your number of frames is, that's the number of frames. Then you get your frames per second. So your length is number of frames divided by frame rate. So this would be like a 1 second video, but we could turn this down to like, it's 29 frames, make it a 2 second video. All right, so I'm going to try it. Main thing being we've got Sage Attention here. Now you click Q and it's going to start here. This is the longest part of the install, okay? The longest part is loading these models, especially this one here. So if your first time takes several minutes, just know that your second time won't take that long, okay? Because it's literally loading it, getting it into the system, all that. I'm going to go turn off this video here. Let me see. Let's go to here and let's turn that off. That might help with the speed a bit. But like I said, your first run, she runs a bit slow because it's got to go. But after that, you'll see that this stuff really, you can crack these out. Now, if you're running a 12 gigabyte thing, you might be able to do this. That Sage Attention is a game changer. Okay? And like I was saying before, when you're running it through the Windows version, whoops. When you're running it through the Windows version, it you got to change your whole system. I mean, if you got 11.8 Cuda, you got to change it to 12.4. If you got Python 10, you got to change it to, or Python 12, you got to change it to Python 10. Once you start changing your Pythons around, forget it, man. You have to reinstall all of your apps. Okay, so it's really not worth it to change your system for one app. But with WSL here, what we've been able to do is, of course, have an actual operating system that is for this app. Okay, and in fact, like I said, we'll probably throw Magic Quill in here. Oh, it looks like it's doing something. We'll probably throw Magic Quill in here, and it'll run fast as well because of what's going on. And we don't have to worry about it. I've got a CUDA 12.4 on this, but my system's running CUDA 11.8. All my other stuff is going to be fine over there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pause this again. I think the main thing that we're just going to see here is that this is going to just take a while because I'm running all this AI stuff here. So we will, here, let me show you really quickly before we go. Let me show you a little bit of the quality, kind of some of the stuff that plays. Let's see here. Let's throw this into the browser, just since I don't want to wait for this one to finish up. Let's do this. Okay, so let's click to our browser. You can actually see it's at 57%. It says here up in the thing, 57%. But again, it's taking a while because of all this stuff. But look at this. I made that. Okay, that's really good. That's really high quality. Here's another alien in the city. Okay, so you're going to be able to make stuff like this. This is probably 512 by 320 here. Again, I could make this bigger if I wanted to because I'm now running Sage Attention. Okay, so that's that. We did it all manually. We went ahead and oh my God, we did a lot. We installed WSL. We got your Cuda installed. We got your Cuda Deep Neural Network installed. We got your Miniconda installed. We went ahead and added stuff to the registry so that you can get into your WSL easily. We went ahead and installed ComfyUI. Then we went ahead and made sure that we had our Cuda toolkit installed correctly, and then we got Torch, and we installed Sage Detention, all that good stuff. Then we went ahead and installed the Hunyuan video wrapper, and then on the 7th hour we rested because it was a long video. Now again, keep in mind, guys, you can just head over here to the page and literally just get clicks to do it. So here's the WSL installer. Just the Hunyuan WSL. Just get it, and then it's literally as easy as just clicking the stuff. It's like this. It's your WSL install. Just click this, and it installs your subsystem for Linux. Click this. It installs your Cuda, your Conda, everything. Okay, you don't have to do anything. You just have to wait for it, and then you go and then you get this and install it. And then all you got to do is click this, install ComfyUI, and then after that install this. So 4 clicks, and you've got it installed. Okay, that is the easiest way to do it. Okay, if you want to install ComfyUI and Hunyuan, you can just set up your ComfyUI or set up your WSL manually. Oh, you didn't see those. Shoot. They were over here. All you got to do, WSL, and you just click the one that installs your WSL. Click your WSL install Cuda. It installs your Cuda. It installs your deep neural network, Miniconda, get all that. Then you just go back here, and all you got to do is click this to click your ComfyUI. Installs that, downloads the models, everything, and then you do your install Hunyuan. So 4 clicks, and it gets going. And those are both available on the Patreon page, the WSL installer and the Hunyuan ComfyUI installer. Okay, and it runs fast. It runs good. Now, if you want to just get one but not the other, go ahead and manually install the WSL, and then just get this one and then install it quickly. Or grab, honestly, the WSL install. This is probably your best bet here because this is the hardest one to install. If you just want to get one, download go get this. Just join as a member and you get them both. Honestly, if you join as a member, it's $10. You get them both. Okay. But if you just want to buy one, just buy this one and then get your WSL installed and then go do it manually. It's really not that difficult. It's pretty groovy, gonna be honest. So, okay, with all of that said, we're going to end it there, and I am going to go get something to drink, but not alcoholic. I don't need to be drinking. It's holidays, but I got too much stuff to focus on here. And I got some Batman to watch on TV. So, you guys hang in there. If you got any questions with this stuff, you let me know. I would be happy to help you. Okay, you can find me on the Discords. You can find me on the Reddits. You can find me on the YouTubes. Hell, you can probably find me on GitHub if you want. I'm around. Okay, and I'm happy to help. So if you do find this helpful, let me know. And you can always give me a little bonus here. Buy me one of these stickers or something like that if you'd like. Oh, here, really quick, before we go, it finished my this is real low quality because remember we did really low dimensions, but there, it did it. And the next time it'll go even faster. So, all right. On that note, we is out of here. We will see you later on the other side. Yo.